that?
Yeah, yeah, okay. We ready, see. Yes.
Yeah, you see that? That's on
Mm,
the. Okay, so
mm,
let me start from the beginning. So Preventus, as you know, we work in wastewater. We work in various in probiotics, uh,
mm,
in anything to do with biological cultures. We
mm,
are, we produce them and we supply them internationally to many different companies, whether it's just whether we're just supplying just the cultures and they're reformulating the product or finished products. Uh,
mm,
that's the company. So sustainability in aquaculture techniques. So bioaugmentation, aqua mimicry, recirculating aquaculture systems, and probiotics. Uh,
mm,
one thing we never spoke about was the probiotics
mm,
here. So bioaugmentation.
mm,
Bioaugmentation is the application, as you know, of selected microorganisms, which enhances the operations of wastewater treatment facilities, and it helps to improve quality and lowering the costs.
mm,
The role of bioaugmentation, it's to achieve the greatest removal of contaminants from waste stream,
mm,
but in a cost-effective manner. So
mm,
what's very important is the type of bacteria that we use.
mm,
You have to be able to digest the wastewater quickly and completely. They have to not cause a lot of odors and gases, and they have to grow and reproduce readily in the environmental conditions. So that's our product is built on those assumptions, using
mm,
that criteria when producing our technology.
mm,
Uh, so for shrimp farming, uh, we strive to stimulate natural intestine conditions by creating zooplankton blooms as supplemental nutrients in the culture of shrimp and beneficial bacteria to maintain water quality. So our bacteria also helps with zooplankton blooms because the
mm,
fish will feed off the zooplankton blooms. So that's done by, we have carbon source, so that's part of the feed that goes into our products. Part of the ingredients is the carbon source because the bacteria needs to feed off the carbon. Uh, we use wheat bran and we use corn also, and it releases nutrients. Uh,
mm,
Method in some ways similar to biofloc technology, um, but there's some key differences. And I
mm,
guess you use biofloc in Vietnam.
mm,
So ideally, the water mimics the appearance and composition of natural intestine water that includes microalgae and zooplankton. Balance is met pH. Dissolved oxygen, as we spoke, is very important. Uh,
mm,
the problem with dissolved oxygen is you have a lot of fluctuations because you have a lot of shrimp that absorb the oxygen and you have the bacteria also that absorb the oxygen. Uh,
mm,
and so they're always competing against each other. Okay, so you want to try to maintain a good level of oxygen in the water. Uh,
mm,
but you don't need to use antibiotics or chemicals because of the nutrition from the zooplankton and the bacteria work symbiotic, which are dietary supplements or ingredients that synergistically combine pre and probiotics.
mm,
So by adding our bacteria, which has nutrients already in the product, you don't need to use the you don't need to use antibiotics.
mm,
Antibiotics are not really the best approach for fish farming because they do produce, uh, the fish eventually become immune to the or sorry, not the fish, but the pathogens become immune to the probiotics and they don't work that well. And it's also not good for the fish flavor. Sex, the success of the approach includes decreasing the food conversion ratio, minimizing water exchange, eliminating disease, better overall nutrition of animal, reducing stress associated with flocculating water quality, and minimizing environmental conditions favorable for pathogens. So, by maintaining your good water quality, and by using these biological additives, you're reducing the risk of stress on the animal, which is very, very important. You want to try to, but you want to try to condition the pond for the optimal condition for the animal, so that they don't, so that you get good flavor from at the end of the day, and they grow very. You increase the size. Traditional versus aquamimicry systems. So this gives you an idea regarding pH remains stable during early morning, afternoon. So this is basically the conditions in the pond throughout the day. So, by using our product, it enhances the growth of good zooplankton, which the animal feeds off of. It lowers the pathogen bacteria that are found in that water. Pond water with high turbidity, so it gets better with high turbidity. It's clearer water, so that the water condition is healthier. High organic with good organic load. The, the bacteria can feed off the organic plants and organic material, so it keeps the wastewater down, keeps the quality of the water up. It maintains, maintains above 5 ppm both day and night. So your DO, I guess I made a mistake, but should be around 5 ppm. You don't have to go higher than 5 ppm. And then it lowers the ammonium nitrate, H2S level. Shrimp remains in good health, brownish pond water. So that's all on balancing by using, excuse me, by using the biologicals. It basically helps balance the water in the pond. If you use traditional, you have greenish pond water, often gets stressed and hit with disease, higher ammonia nitrate. The DO is much lower, and when the DO is lower, it creates a lot of stress for the animal because everybody's fighting. Do you understand? Bacteria is fighting for oxygen, and the animal's fighting for oxygen. So when that happens, it creates a lot of stress, high mortality rate in the pond. So, and it brings also, because the DO is lower, it also increases the risk of pathogenic bacteria that are found in the area. So that is a huge, huge problem. So we're trying to, the key is to balance the water, and by using biologicals and nutrients, you can keep your water balanced correctly. Is there any questions on this that you want to ask me?
Yes, I had a question. For example, we had you know we had a product about the new anti treatment about nitro ammoni, right? That means you see in the flow ammoni nitrate on nitrate. So I use the new bacteria, new product you sell to me.
Yes, yes.
I would like you this product in the our culture treatment about the nitro, okay, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
What about that? You're
Uh,
talking about the Pseudomonas blend, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Versus Nutrisomonas and Nitrobacter versus nitrofibers.
Yeah.
Okay.
And another question. I see the picture mean if if you do normal manual, that is not table some the content. For example, you see a BH morning different about afternoon. That when they yield the solution, my solution, X solution, they can balance about the table about it, right? For example, you see in the picture, the
Yes,
BX maintain table during the morning on to and
yes, yes.
afternoon. Yeah,
Very
right.
stable. Yes.
Yeah, table
Be-
more about it. Yeah.
In the afternoon, you have very hot sun. So that becomes, when you have a hot sun, the hot
Mm,
sun permeates through the water and causes a
mm,
lot of algae bloom and causes a lot of bacteria, pathogenic bacteria to grow. So by
mm,
what we're trying to do is maintain, even in the afternoon when it's hot, to try to
mm,
keep the algae from blooming, from growing. So
mm,
that's what the bacteria, that's what they do. So they basically digest a lot of the the algae. You know, plankton is very good, but algae is not. So there's a difference. So what we
mm,
want to do is reduce the algae bloom, and
mm,
that's why we're adding. But that's all a matter of stabilizing the pH, keeping maintaining the DO at a certain level, and
mm,
in the adding in the product.
mm,
Okay, uh,
mm,
opposed to traditional methods where you have problems with low organic, pond water, low turbidity. You have a lot of problems with pathogenic bacteria, uh, stress. So a lot of that's the traditional, and you have
mm,
fluctuation in the pH, which is not good.
mm,
So the top portion is where you're trying to maintain by using the bacteria and keeping the conditions, keeping your DO high, keeping your organics high for
mm,
your bacteria to grow and for the to work harmoniously with the animal that's in the pond. So
mm,
that's the key.
mm,
Bioshrimp farming uh,
mm,
was based on earthen ponds that are constructed in a layout that allows distribution of intake water by gravity through an aqueduct system, as well as drainage to the licensed output point by gravity.
mm,
Closed circulating module comprised of three ponds, and each module grow out ponds attached with toilet system and one biological treatment pond located in the middle. Aerators are arranged to promote water circulation around the grow-out ponds for solids to concentrate in the center. The
mm,
solids are being pumped out daily to the biological treatment pond containing tilapia, milkfish, or catfish, or shrimp. Plastic lining is arranged to slow the water velocity and increase the water retention time. When the water returns to the grow-up ponds, it contains very low levels of nitrous waste. So basically what you want to do is you want to try to keep the water, as much clean water to
mm,
circulate back in the pond, but collect all your solids that are thrown out. So when you're circulating, you don't want to circulate back with the solids. You want to capture those solids so
mm,
that the water goes back still clean.
mm,
Okay, so if you go moving your water too fast, if you're recirculating it in and out too quickly, it can't capture the solids as quickly.
mm,
Okay,
mm,
so these systems and technology have been met with success and proven to produce better quality shrimp at lower cost improve shrimp growth, decrease resistant and sustainable. In addition, the pond bottom is clean and free from foul, hence stocking can be done within 14 days after harvest. So
Mm.
it's your water quality that's important. So if you're recirculating the wastewater out of the system, you want to try to set up a system that captures as much of the solids as possible, so that the recirculating water going back into the pond is still clean and it doesn't have contaminants in it.
Mm. That
Go
that
ahead.
trust is very important for us because we now focus about the trust because in Vietnam, water quality water for now important because the when at time they uh, they use the water for the farm,
Yes.
something they wastewater and bad environment. They now they
Well,
focus recall about the quality very important. That's why the rest very important for them. Yeah.
yes. And Mr. Lee, Ty, you know what, that the waste from fish ponds is one of the best fertilizers you can use.
Mm,
So that waste that you take out of the ponds, you can dry that, add some bacteria to it to help break down some of the pathogens. Uh,
mm,
you can actually put it on the farm for vegetables because it's very rich
mm,
in those ponds. So you can reuse that waste by treating it by composting it.
mm, mm,
Okay,
mm,
so here is a diagram of the RAS system,
mm,
recirculating culture system. Uh, I think you understand it. Desludging, aerators, and the biofilter,
mm.
putting the bacteria. So this is, I think, your people understand this.
Mm.
Probiotics, that's something we never spoke about. We always were discussing more on the treating the wastewater than treating the actual, also the health of the animal. So
Mm,
probiotics, we make some very good probiotics that you use mixed with your feed. And in our
mm,
probiotics, because one of the key is to maintain healthy animals and to try to discourage any disease like Vibro or EBS or white spot, is by making sure that the animal is very
mm,
healthy. And so probiotics are very, very important because what they do is they actually fortify and strengthen the health of the animal. So the
mm,
animal, good vitamins. Vitamin C is very important. The minerals are very important. Enzymes are very important, and they need the bacteria. So a good probiotic supplement mixed with the feed helps ensure that pond will be, uh, I'm not saying disease free because it's impossible, but that there's a good chance that the animal will grow larger and healthier.
mm,
So probiotics is an essential management tool in fish and shrimp farming because it helps ensure production efficiency, environmental protection, and sustainable development. Probiotic helps limit the use of chemical drugs, chemicals and antibiotics in disease prevention. A lot of companies use antibiotics. Well, I don't know in Vietnam. I'm not familiar. Antibiotics and chemicals to try to kill the disease. Very bad because
mm,
the animal and the bacteria become resistant. resistant to the antibiotics, and it doesn't help. So all you do is chemical is not a good way to feed the animal because they become resistant and disease eventually will take over.
Yeah. Vietnam now they understand about probiotic and it reduce about the chemical and antibiotic. Yeah.
Yes, yes, and it's not very good because it doesn't create a healthy animal. By using chemicals and antibiotics, I'm sure that the problem is the shrimp do not grow very big because of the chemicals and antibiotics that they use. So
Yeah.
that's why probiotics is it's just like if you take the analogy of a human being, right? Of human, if we feed our body with healthy food, with vitamins,
Yeah. Yeah.
nutrients, we're very healthy and become very strong and we resist disease, correct? We don't get so sick.
Yes.
So the same works with animals. If you correctly balance nutritions with nutrients and vitamins, they eat and they'll resist disease. So that's the approach you need to take. Okay. Here's the functions of probiotics, including selected beneficial bacteria with multiply and grow quickly. Activities of these bacteria: okay, decomposing organic matter in water, reducing bottom soils and sediments in the pond, reducing toxins and odors in the aquatic environment, including toxic gases like NH3, H2S, NO2. So, uh, and also it stimulates shrimp produce antibodies. It enhances their immunity of the shrimp and helps shrimp develop well. Beneficial bacteria will compete will compete with harmful bacteria, which is very, very important because in these open water settings, in these ponds, it attracts a lot of pathogenic bacteria. Pathogenic bacteria will that create diseases. But by supplementing with beneficial bacteria, the beneficial bacteria will overpower the pathogens, so it reduces down the harmful bacteria that's in the feed. The beneficial bacteria will limit the appearance and development of harmful bacteria. So that's the other point that has to be made with these probiotics is that we're trying to reduce the production of pathogenic bacteria that's in the feed. So microbes in probiotics absorb nutrients, they dissolve in water, so they'll limit the growth of algae. They help stabilize the water color, pH of water, and reduce water pump costs. These activities, bacteria and probiotics have the ability to provide a number of antibiotic and enzymes, etc., to inhibit or destroy pathogens and toxic algae. So what you're doing is it's twofold. By feeding your animal with probiotics, and you don't need a lot. I think it's like 50 to 100 grams per ton of a probiotic blend that contains bacteria, vitamins, nutrients, and by feeding them with probiotics and by treating the ponds, you're fortifying your chances of being very successful and not creating a disease environment. So you're starting with the animal and at the same time you're also conditioning the water. So you have two things going on that will breed success. Okay, so not just the water do you have to look after, but you also have to look after the animal itself. Okay, probiotics mixed in feed can enhance the absorption of shrimp, prevent wasted feed, and prevent the infectious intestinal disease in shrimp. One of the problems in shrimp farming, and I don't know about Vietnam, but they overfeed. they overfeed with the fish feed. So what happens is 50%, 60% of that feed goes to the bottom of the pond, and it builds up a lot of sludge, and that's how you get your H2S gases. That's where your ammonia generates from, because they overfeed with their feeding protocol. Uh, so by feeding the bacteria, mixing it with the feed, mixing it into the pond, we're breaking down a lot of that wasted feed that settles at the bottom. So that's the other issue that is very prevalent in aquaculture is the overfeeding, because shrimp cannot digest 1 ton, 2 tons of feed so quickly. So a lot of it is wasted and falls to the bottom. So that's why the microbes need to break that down. So by mixing probiotics into the feed, and also by putting the probiotics into the water table, it helps reduce a lot of that waste that generates the NH3, generates H2S, and generates NO2.